You want some dust and dirt in your PSA slab? No problem.
With business booming, this is a fast-paced environment. If you
Fast-paced.
have experience with computer data entry.
So what can we learn, folks, about PSA and Collector's Universe by studying their hiring materials? Let's watch to find out. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Parkside Merchant channel. I've got a real interesting video here today. I basically wanted to spend some time going through some of the different hiring and recruitment materials that Collector's Universe makes available on their website. I think like a lot of folks, right, I have a lot of cards out there with PSA. I'm always very curious to know more about how they do what they do and just ultimately get more visibility and insight into their process. A lot of you know, right, that Collector's Universe is going private very shortly, and so it's sort of, you know, with public companies, there's always a certain amount of visibility that you get into financials, into their operations, into sort of their practices as a business, overall state of affairs at the company. When a company goes private, however, it can become very difficult to get a lot of insight into basically what they're up to, how they're doing, how they perform their operations, and all that sort of stuff. And the one exception is, you know, while companies may not, you know, they're not doing earnings calls anymore. If they're private, they're not going to be doing a whole lot of stuff where they share data with the street, so to speak. But where you can often pick up on very interesting signals and tidbits of insight is actually through their recruitment and hiring materials. So as you guys know, Collector's Universe is the parent company of PSA, Professional Sports Authenticators. I'm just here on their basic recruitment, page, right, for their career opportunities at their website. As you can see, right, they've got a lot of, pictures available, and then there's a whole bunch of job listings. Where I think we're going to spend the most of our time in this video is actually looking at the videos that they have available here. Just a sidebar note here, you could see a lot of these people are just chit-chatting in the hallways, right? That explains maybe some of the delays at PSA, right? You got people they're just talking, right? They're not grading cards or grading coins. They're just chatting it up right here in the hallways. That might be part of some of the delays that people are experiencing for sure. So I guess it makes sense to kind of do these in order of PSA's process. So we'll start off with the receiver responsibility, right? These are the people where you package up those boxes of your cards and ship them out to PSA. These receiver people are the folks that basically accept those packages. They probably got to go to the post office and the post boxes that they have, and then shuffle all this stuff over to the warehouse and basically scan it in and receive it, basically. And that's a hard job when you've got a backlog of several million cards, right? Keeping track of all that stuff is probably a logistics nightmare, I would imagine. So let's just kind of go ahead and watch this first video here. Let's just go ahead and watch the first video here and see what we got.
The PSA receiving department is hiring. Receiving is the first step in our process, which makes it critical to getting the customer submission experience off to an excellent start.
Don't want to lose those cards.
This department is responsible for verifying the information on customer submission forms and then inputting the customer submission into our system.
Actually, check this out, folks. You see how they've got this, like, person that's stuck at a cube, basically, that has to go through all these cards. This is why when I've said in my previous videos, like, be thoughtful and put some time into how you do this stuff. Like, the more organized and the more just, like, clean and consistent that your stuff is with the process that they expect, the more likely these people are going to be just tolerant and sympathetic and not get pissed off at your submission. If your cards are all out of order and if they're not in the Card Saver 1 sleeves that they like, or if they're just like strung around in a box. Like you could see here, this person has to go through these things card by card, match it up with the stuff that's on your label. Very tedious, very manual exercise here, guys. So like if you're just dumping your cards in a box and they're all out of order and you're like, well, just PSA will figure it out. That's somebody that's stuck at a desk that has to do thousands of these probably a week. So just be respectful is what I would say.
Inputting the customer submission into our system. With business booming, this is a fast-paced environment.
Fast
If you have
paced.
experience with computer data entry, are process-oriented, and enable problem solver, we would like to invite you to apply for a position in our receiving department. You can learn more about this position on our website at psacard.com/careers.
Okay, so the receiving department, pretty simple drill there. Not a whole lot of rocket science going on. You can see it's very manual, however, how they do this. Basically, it's not like there's a machine that sorts through your cards. It's like somebody in a cube that has to open up your box and then go through this stuff kind of one by one. Okay, moving on to the research specialist, the research department, folks. You got to be a real enthusiast for trading cards to do this full time, folks. And you can see here, right, they've got some, in this listing, people that have sports cards expertise is obviously table stakes. You got to have that, but it looks like they're getting more specific about the Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh adjacencies in the job descriptions. They've been said to be pretty unfamiliar with the Yu-Gi-Oh territory, is what you hear anecdotally. It's not their area of expertise, so they rely a lot on external advisors and consultants and stuff to give them some of the insight here. But it is interesting to see they're trying to step up that requirement for folks. Something they're probably asking about in interviews is like, are you interested in Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh? Do you have any expertise or any exposure to that stuff? Because they're getting a lot of those cards, even though, I mean, they've said in their earnings calls that I think sports cards is the vast majority of their business. But if you've got a very high growth adjacency with Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, notice they did not say Magic here, which is interesting. Maybe they've got that covered. Maybe they have a Magic department or somebody already. But the Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, those are the very high growth categories here for sure. All right, let's watch our video here on the research department.
PSA is hiring in its research department. Do you love trading cards and have a knack for research? If you're a sports fan or a TCG fan and don't mind rolling up your sleeves to put together a puzzle, then research might be the right department for you.
Put together a puzzle. That's one way
This
to
job
put it, I
tasks
guess.
you with identifying the cards and collectibles on customer submissions for inputting into the PSA grading system. The result of your work will be the first thing our customers see when they open up their shipments from PSA, an informative label that accurately describes the collectible that we have certified. Apply to work at our research department today to begin your career in collectibles. Visit psacard.com/careers to apply.
Okay, not a lot to be learned there at all, frankly. Kind of what I think a lot of people expect, which is at PSA, right? It's like if you send cards that aren't yet in the database, somebody at a desk is going to have to figure out what the heck is that card? Is it authentic? And how do we label it, right? So pretty simple job there. Not a whole lot of insight gleaned about the process or anything. Not a ton of surprises on this one, in my opinion. Let's see here. It is kind of interesting that they mentioned that there's some ecosystem exposure here. Communicate with manufacturers like Topps, Upper Deck. What's interesting to me about that is it means that these folks are not averse to like getting out there into the ecosystem and acknowledging that there may be other agencies or companies that have more expertise in a given area. So if you send a whole bunch of stuff from, like I would imagine in Yu-Gi-Oh, if you sent a huge lot of Yu-Gi-Oh stuff that was unfamiliar to them, they'd probably have people like the research specialists who would have to set up a call, maybe with somebody at Konami or Upper Deck or someplace, just to try and get some insight. It's probably part of their business model to do those kind of expert interviews or discussions with people as part of this job responsibility. So this actually sounds like a pretty fun job, frankly. Relative to the receiving department, this is where, at least for me, my personal interest would align more with the research side of things, I think. All right, next up, it's the job you've all been waiting for, folks. Card grading. The infamous grading job here, folks. This is interesting. Let's see here. Well, you can see from the description, there are not a lot of specific things that they require for this, which means all kinds of folks probably apply for these positions, which I guess there's good news and bad news in that. I think the good news is, this is my opinion, but the good news about having a vague description like this means this is a very process-driven exercise or drill, which says to me they could pretty much hire anyone off the street that says that they're interested in baseball cards. And they could train them using a very specific process, their proprietary process that they use. And they basically try to burn that into somebody's mind so that you could take any old person off the street and train them how to recognize centering, how to recognize surface damage, how to determine edge wear, right? All this stuff. It's kind of like, as long as somebody has an interest in the material and they have a very high attention to detail, you could train anybody to be a card grader, probably, just about anybody. So in that respect, I guess it is kind of reassuring that they aren't looking for people that are self-proclaimed experts in card grading or assessment. They're basically looking for people that they can train and indoctrinate in their own process so that there's going to be some more consistency to how they grade stuff. So I actually kind of like this description, right? That's how if I ran PSA, I would probably want to have a very rigorous training process for people. And I would want to have people come in as a blank slate, right? And just get them indoctrinated in the way to grade cards that PSA likes so that every grader is looking out for the exact same things. So this is fine to me, I guess. Now let's watch the video, see what we think.
The PSA card grading department is hiring. If you have a passion for trading cards and have seen and handled tens of thousands of cards over your lifetime, then you may have a few...
Hey, look at that, guys. So for all of you naysayers out there who say, well, the centering is based on eye appeal, you know, it's PSA doesn't use rulers or whatever, or instruments to determine centering. False. Take a look at that, folks. Take a look at this here, folks. This person is literally using a measurement instrument to determine the centering of a card. So forget whatever eye appeal or eye judgment people talk about with centering. They're going to take a ruler and an instrument to your card, or you should assume that they will. So the other thing, guys, I mean, honestly, like this person has a dark room here, right? They're using a darkly lit space with a lamp to look at the card. So I always recommend people do the exact same thing. Get in a dark room, look your cards over with a lamp, because they're going to do that. They are going to scrutinize your card. This grader is literally, like, let's see what the video shows.
Card grading department. This department is the heart of our operation, providing independent, unbiased assessments of authenticity and quality.
Look at it.
For the millions of trading cards that we certify each
Look
year.
at this. This guy's got a magnifying glass that he's using on a card here. So fake news that they just, look it over quick in 10 seconds and make a judgment. I mean, you should expect that somebody is going to do a real close look over on your card. So that's why when people get these PSA returns and they've got a whole bunch of 5s or 4s, it's because somebody studied the card and saw something on it. Like, they're not just going to give it a 5 for no reason. They're going to study it until they find something that is wrong with it. That's how PSA runs, right? They are trained to scrutinize a card like a professor on a test, right? They're not, or a teacher or whatever. They're not just going to hand out an A+ because that's what they do, right? They're going to scrutinize your essay. They're going to look over all your math. They're going to look over everything you do to try and find every pothole and issue possible to deduct points, right? That's how a very strict grader works and does their job. So same drill with grading a card, as you can see.
If you're the type who can focus for long stretches of uninterrupted work.
Oh, long stretches of uninterrupted work. That is an understatement, folks. You have to have the patience of some kind of I don't even know, folks. Like, you've got to be extraordinarily patient and extraordinarily just very process driven. This is a very repetitive and very tiring job, I imagine, to just go through thousands and thousands of cards.
The keen attention to detail.
I would never have
be a
the
good fit
tolerance
for
to
our
do
grading
this.
department. Apply today to work as a PSA card grader at psacard.com/career.
No gloves, by the way. Check that out, right? Okay, so card grading. Pretty interesting stuff. Not a lot of surprises there, I guess, but it is kind of insightful to watch the video and get some of the inside scoop. Okay, next up is the sealing department. This is the one that I know gets a lot of grief from people on YouTube and elsewhere, right? It's like the sealing people just, these guys just, you want some dust and dirt in your PSA slab? No problem. Well, you can count on the sealing department to come through for you, because you can watch on YouTube, people have all kinds of issues with the sealing stuff, right? That's where your cards get dented and damaged, and you get all sorts of dust and debris and all sorts of stuff that winds up in there. Let's see here. Again, this one's kind of a simple process-oriented sort of a job. Let's kind of take a look at the video here.
The PSA sealing department is hiring. At our core, PSA is an encapsulation company. Putting collectibles like trading cards into our tamper-evident, sonically sealed holder is one of our core competencies. We are looking for energetic.
Oh yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh's getting some airtime in the training videos, folks. Look at that. Look at that nice blue eyes white dragon on the in that slab. That's cool. You know, it's what was the grade on that one there? Looks like it is a gem mint, I think. So that's kind of fun.
Hardworking operators for
Always
our
good to see
sealing department.
Yu-Gi-Oh getting airtime.
This is the department that carefully places trading cards and other collectibles into their PSA holders, along with our red Lighthouse security label.
Now, what's interesting to me actually about this, guys, if you take a look here, I know that there were some announcements recently. I think Joe Orlando did a press release. I know I got an email about it a couple weeks back where they were talking about using more robotics, like robotic instruments to help with the sealing process. You could see here, I guess, up until now, I mean, that person has what looks like, it looks to me like a blowtorch kind of an instrument or some kind of a sonic instrument that I guess seals the plastic. So they do manually, I guess, go card by card, place the card into the plastic, and then somebody has to go around all four corners with that little instrument and seal the plastic. So that's a very tedious drill right there. I mean, if that PE firm or the folks that just bought them out can crack the code on how to seal this stuff faster, that's going to be a big breakthrough, I imagine, in the logjam if you could automate the sealing process. And to me, you know, and this is my opinion, but like sealing the card, there's a lot less subjectivity, a lot less room for error. That's like a manufacturing task, whereas the grading task, that's a very complex exercise that would require some very sophisticated computer vision and machine vision sort of software-driven analytics. The sealing process here, that is just begging to be automated, in my opinion. Like, this could easily be automated if they could do it very carefully. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, whoa, they're going to take my, you know, Michael Jordan rookie here and run it through some machine and have it get sealed up. Maybe not. Maybe for really high value stuff, they would make an exception and do it manually. But for the bulk orders, I mean, doing thousands of these by hand has got to be absolutely brutal, folks. Like, brutal, I would imagine. Really, really tough job right there.
Working with our inventory of plastic and potentially operating our encapsulation machinery.
Oh, okay.
Experience in a manufacturing
So they are
setting is
using more
preferred.
of the
If you think
instruments.
you may
That's
be a
good.
good fit for our sealing department, please visit psacard.com/careers to apply today.
Okay. You know what I like to see here too, by the way, folks? It says multiple shifts, and then it has like a day and night sort of an icon. I hope, like, I mean, they've got such a huge backlog and they're making money hand over fist. I hope that they're keeping those factories open day and night. And with the economy being the way it is, there's people that are looking for work, you know, that might want to work night shifts and things like that. So I hope that they're probably working around the clock, you know, to get stuff out the door. If you have that much business, it makes sense to try to get through as much of that backlog as possible. And look, another thing I just thought of, and I don't mean to go off on a tangent about this, but one of the weird things about their business model is, for any of you who have submitted to PSA, they don't charge your credit card when they receive the shipment, right? They charge it towards the end of the process after all the grading and all the stuff is done, which is interesting, which means that basically their revenue, their quarterly revenue, is contingent on how fast they can get this stuff out the door, not contingent on how big the pipeline or how big the backlog in their warehouse actually is. So it's not even like like their business incentive is to churn this stuff as fast as possible based on the way that they bill people. So I mean, it's not like it behooves them to move slow, right? It behooves them to move as fast as possible to bill people for their massive submissions, right, that they're getting all the time. Okay, last department, guys, is quality control. Quality control here. Now, I believe the way that quality control works at PSA actually is it's people that just like look over the cards and stuff after they've been sealed, after they're graded. So I don't know that they actually do much. Like, if they see a card that's graded a 5 and they disagree with it, does that mean they're going to break it out and regrade it? I doubt it. So I don't really know what these people do, to be honest. And I've seen a lot of like errors and issues that people show on YouTube where like folks get a card that's delivered that's not even theirs. and just like all sorts of random stuff happens. So I don't know like what the quality assurance people are doing. Sounds like there might be some issues there. Um, but yeah, let's just watch the video and see what this is all about.
The PSA Quality Control Department is hiring. One of the PSA's values as a company is to treat every item like a mantle.
I love that, folks. If that's actually the mantra that they live by, that is how you run a business, folks. You indoctrinate in people's minds from day one when they get onboarded and come into the company. You tell them, look, like the stuff that people send to us are some of their most treasured items, right? These are things that people really care about for the most part. And while it may not be a valuable card to you, maybe it's some common from some set that nobody cares about, somebody cared enough about it to submit it to us. So like, I really like that. Treat every item like a mantle, right? Respect it, treat it fairly, give it a fair shake from the grading side of things. Go through it, give it the tedious analysis that it deserves if people are going to pay you to grade it. So, and handle it carefully. Don't make stupid mistakes. Don't dent the cards and like scuff them up and stuff.
This is a nod to the popularity and value of Mickey Mantle trading cards. PSA strives to treat every collectible we receive, no matter how valuable, as priceless, because we know it means that much to one of our collectors.
I hope that's true.
This belief guides the quality control department at PSA. So if you are a perfectionist with a keen attention to detail who can focus over long stretches of time, a position in our QC department may be a good fit for you.
Definitely long hours.
Experience with trading cards is a huge plus when applying for this position. If you are interested in learning more, please apply online at psacard.com/careers.
All right, folks. Well, I guess that just about does it here for this video. I hope people found this kind of interesting. I certainly am always interested in getting the inside scoop and learning the inside baseball about how PSA does what it does. And I think you could see from these videos that there are some very interesting insights that you can get just by studying the hiring materials and the job descriptions and some of the recruitment videos that they publish. So thanks again for watching, everybody. This is the Parkside Merchants channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought about these materials and what it tells you. If you picked up on anything that I missed here in some of these materials, it would be great to hear that in the comments. So thanks again, folks, the Parkside Merchant, and we'll see you next time.